Good morning, scholars. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be with you again today. Just as a reminder, we have our test coming up on Friday, so you should be using any free time that you have today and tomorrow to prepare for that test. I've had a couple kids ask me some questions about Edpuzzles. I will look into opening them back up as a resource for you to study. Let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. If you go into our social studies class folder, we've been working on Monday through Wednesday. We've been looking at that slideshow. So just as a reminder today, what you'll be doing is you'll be using that second copy of notes and you will be wrapping up the remaining slides today. So we're going to be taking a look at slides 14 through the end. And so you'll be looking at today two important topics, the triangular trade, as well as the middle passage once it loads, and the slave trade. So let's go through these topics together real quick. You can listen to the slideshow and take your notes. Just as a reminder, this is a very dark and disturbing time in history, and it's really important that we handle it with sensitive care. So at any point, if you get uncomfortable, please just take a break from the lesson and know that you're not the only one who feels this way. All right, so let's talk about this. The triangular trade was an important part of European, African, and American culture. It's basically the process of a system of trade. So we talked about involuntary and voluntary trade the other day with our Columbian exchange, and that's part of it. So what we have here is we have some major cities that are going to start to get involved in this trade game. So if you look in the European section, specifically looking at England, you're going to find that there are going to be major manufacturing companies that develop, and those manufacturing companies are going to send materials, manufactured goods to Africa. So they're going to send things like guns and cloth and iron and beer to the west coast of Africa. And when we look at Africa, what we'll have is people who are going to receive those goods, and when they receive those goods, they are then going to send other things to the New World. So gold and ivory and spices and hardwood, some of that goes back to England, but what I really, really, really want you to remember is this triangular shape where we have things going from Europe to Africa, and then we have the things going from Africa to North America. And in this case, that would be enslaved peoples. So West African, we'll learn a little bit more about that in the coming slides. But then from there, those enslaved peoples are going to provide a labor source, and those people are going to work, and they are going to provide the raw materials. So these are things that we use to make items. So things like rice and silk, and tobacco, sugar, molasses, natural woods. Those things are going to go back to Europe. So you're going to see a triangular shape that develops. All right, so right now I need you to fill into your notes. There is a triangular of trade again. This is what the term that we refer to the network that connects Europe, Africa, and the Americas. So please make sure you're filling in your notes at this point. You received these yesterday. Exports include natural resources, and we call these cash crops. These are things that they can literally grow and make an immediate profit off of. Things like sugar and tobacco are considered cash crops. Europe is going to send and create manufacturing goods, and then Africa is going to provide enslaved people. This includes the Middle Passage, the triangular trade, and that is the specific voyage that goes from Africa to the Americas. It is a trip. It's a one-way trip. It's a voyage that uses captured and enslaved Africans and sends them to the West Indies. And then it's there that they are sold into slavery. All right, so I need you to take a look at this map. This is about the slave trade. The Atlantic slave trade was an injustice on a massive scale. So again, this is a topic that is very sensitive in nature, and I'm hoping that you learn from this experience and that we can do better. There's a short video that I want you to take a look at. So you can pause the video now, you can take a look at your slideshow, and you can watch that video for yourself. When you look at the west coast of Africa, you're going to see that there are many cities and areas that are going to develop because of European control. So we're going to have forts that are going to be set up from Europeans. If you take a look at that key, there's some British, there's Danish. Remember we said that was the Netherlands, and the Dutch, the Netherlands. We have French, Portuguese, and other. So if you take a look at that key, these are forts that are going to be set up. And the whole point of the forts are just what you think, guys. It's for the trading of goods. So they're sending from Europe manufacturing goods to Africa. And then from Africa, these forts are capturing and using enslaved labor. Excuse me. As you can see, the slave trade was on a wide scale. Taking a look at that key. Excuse me. The volume and direction of the transatlantic slave trade from all African to all American regions. Millions and millions of people were enslaved.